We are live.
Yes, sorry I was late. In case anybody's watching.
I'm smiling through the stuffiness.
Mm-hmm. It's my fault I wasn't home. Now I am.
Yeah, you're home. Besides, you were here at like 6:01.
I help a friend of mine is moving house, and I helped
Yeah.
him take some of his tabletop games to the new place. And, if I thought getting all my comics out was hard, him taking all of his RPGs.
Wow. How
No,
many does he
yeah.
have?
I don't know.
I mean, 100?
Probably. He had a stage where he was getting a lot, supporting a lot of Kickstarters.
Ah. Because I have no idea how many games like a tabletop game fan would have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's never played any of them. Wilson is here.
Hello there, Wilson.
Hello, Wilson.
How are you guys doing?
Cool.
I've got a cold, so I'll be hitting the cough button.
Oh,
Mm.
sorry to hear you have a cold.
Yeah, Vini C was here half an hour before we started, so
All right.
Excellent, excellent.
hopefully he's still watching. Captain Infinity arrived via time travel. And Tit Goblin has arrived after capturing a live Wolverine, right? He said there was a Wolverine signing near his town,
Wow.
which is currently presently very rare.
And I've got the biggest bag of cough drops ever. It's like 140 cough drops in here. Like, holy cow.
Nice.
That's a lot of mint.
That's a lot of
You're making a
menthol.
mint. You're making a mint.
There you go. Try to make a mint julep out of it.
Mhm.
I don't know what it would need, but I guess if you put vodka and those mints in there, I guess that could work. No idea what goes into that drink.
They're the first in 60 years. So those Wolverines are coming back with a vengeance. Captain Finney says RuneQuest, Tunnels and Trolls, Call of Cthulhu, Travelers, Star Frontier, so many tabletop RPGs. Yeah.
It's quite a few. I have a few myself. I'm not even open.
And speaking of Canadians, you're in Alberta?
All right.
No, you're not. Calgary. Unless you're working. Are you still working where you were? No Wolverine signings over there. And it's not moose season.
Moose season.
Chocolate moose season. Now that season is every day, every year. Cool. Union business. All right.
Union business.
Yeah.
Bitness.
Mm-hmm.
Business.
So this is a little chaotic because I got home late and I started this a minute after I was supposed to, which was when I was sending out the link.
So you're not
For Jared.
you haven't settled down yet.
Yeah. Barely had time. I was taking my shoes off while I was talking.
He's still all wound up from being outside. I've been resting all day, so I'm pretty settled down.
Haven't even had your drink yet, huh?
No drinks.
Yeah, I went out because last day to grab books before the show. So always mean to go out on a Wednesday. Just never happens. You know.
Mhm.
I had to go out yesterday and get a new car battery. Wednesday morning, I went out to go to the train station, turned my key, and it didn't turn the car on.
Okay.
Borrowed my sister's car. Went into the train station. looked up with the I turned the key and the lights flashed. It went tick, 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 tick. I'm like, I think that's the battery. I looked it up on the internet. It said it's the battery. I checked my battery. I checked when I bought the battery. Luckily, I put these things down on my calendar.
Uh-huh.
And it was 6 years old. So I'm like, you know what? I should replace that battery.
Right.
So that's
know-
what
I know
that's what-
nothing of cars. Is 6 years a good amount of time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After a good amount of time for a battery.
Okay.
Usually I replace them. I have to replace them after 7 years, but it's not as cold here as it is in New York State. So,
and then I found out I replaced it, put the new one in. Oh, that reminds me, I have to put a code in for my radio. Turned it on, started.
Oh yeah.
Drove it around the block a little bit. Got back home, looked up, and my dome light was on. I'm like, ooh, did I make the battery go dead because the dome light was on? What could have happened? I don't say this could have, because, like I said, it's over. I put the battery in the end of December 2019, so it's over 6 years old. But Monday night when I got home, when I got off the train, often the only time I use the dome light is when it's dark out. I'm in the parking lot. I turn on the dome light. I set up my phone to play over the radio, whatever, and turn off the dome light and drive home. This time, if that dome light was on, I had a cold then. I must have just driven home with the dome light on and not noticed. But then I had to turn the car off in the dark and not notice the dome light was on too.
Right.
So, even though the battery was old and it was good, it was replaced, I may have made it run down with having that dome light on for 2 days or a day and a half.
Maybe. Like I said, I know nothing of cars.
Yeah.
I do know the old wives' tale that, if you turn on the dome light, that's illegal to be driving around with the dome light on.
You would think I noticed I was driving with the dome light on, but my cold could have messed with my perceptions.
That's very well possible.
That's the only thing I can think of. Because the battery made it through all this cold winter.
Right.
But $250 later, I was going to have to replace it anyway. So better that it dies in my driveway.
Yeah.
Than out there somewhere.
You're not out, getting off the train in the middle of the night, going, all right, now how do I get home?
Yeah, I lost my battery once at my workplace. And that was 40 miles from home.
And you just want to go home.
Yep. That would be the worst time. Oh. So we've been having unusually hot weather here this week. Yeah. And I've been enjoying it for the most part. There was a point where it's like, it is quite hot. And I'm very stubborn when it comes to turning on the AC.
Oh, yeah.
I need to wait.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's April.
So it's like I got the fan on because I remembered it's like, I got a fan sitting in the room that I put away during the winter. I could take that out before... And it's not really hard to just take the cord off the AC and plug it in. But it was one of those things like, I don't want to do that yet. I just need to wait. And he was like, all right, the fan is working for now. And I believe there's supposed to be a thunderstorm here tonight. Or today. It was supposed to start at 4.
I heard there was a little thunder this afternoon. One rolled through near me.
We got some wind and got some rain for like 20 minutes. I completely missed it because I was on the subway coming home from picking up my books, which I do have here. So I do have some books that I picked up waiting for me. So I have books. Haven't read any of them, but at least I do have books. And even picked up a toy as well. So
I've got 10 books to
review. Really?
Big week for me.
That's a big week, yeah.
Yeah. I think I got 10 next week too, plus a hardcover. Palookaville by Seth. Used to be a comic. Where is Palookaville? Do I have it back there somewhere? Geez, I can't remember where I put him. Palookaville by Seth, the one named cartoonist who did Clyde fans, and it's a good name, a good life if you don't weaken. Oh, there they are. At one time, the comic of years ago morphed into this. So this is an issue of Palookaville. This is Palookaville 22. So, the first, I think, 20 issues were regular comics. And now it comes out once every few years like this. So, I think number 25 is coming out. And Clyde fans was first serialized like this, along with other things it gets in here. So there'll actually be a new issue of this out. It's strange to call it an issue, but a new volume. So Palookaville 25 should be out next week.
Donald Rex is here. I hit a deer in my... Ooh.
1200. So sorry.
Apart from that, are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. My experience with animals is watching race cars hitting them in Africa. So,
wow.
Of course, Donald, you can blame Jared. It's probably his deer. He has one.
What was the deer driving?
Yeah, my battery was only 250. I feel I got off lucky now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but dang, 1280. You could buy a new car, a new used car for that.
Luckily, yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah.
I think the one time I hit a deer, when was that? Like 2011 or 2012. I'd have to look. It was all covered by insurance because apparently hitting a deer is an act of God. But I think the damage was about $3,000. Well, luckily, like I said, insurance took care of it all. So, But yeah.
Captain Infinity says the Love and Rockets, Maggie and Hope arrived. 770 pages. That is a lot.
Wow. Yeah, it is big. Because I know I got the 2 hardcover volumes, and they're big. So all of it in one volume is...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just before we started, I was telling my friend who I was helping movies is tabletop games. I noticed he bought a lot of DC's Finest. Because the thing that DC has that's identical to the Marvel Epic collections, and in comparison to Marvel Epic collections, most DC's Finest are not available in digitized format.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about 10, because he had a lot of them, and the everything that's digitized shows up in the Russian pirate sites.
Right.
There are very few DC Finest on the Russian pirate sites.
Interesting.
But pretty much about 90% of Marvel's Epic collections are available.
Yeah, I've bought some of the Marvel Epic collections when they go on sale for super cheap on Amazon. But I never actually read. I'm like $2. Okay, I'll buy
that. Yeah, but it's cool. You can read a comic at a time, maybe 2 if you're really getting into it, and it's a 2-part story. Hello, 62 Lefty Blues.
Hello.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to read an Epic collection in one sitting.
Just thumb through it a little.
Guys, there are people who don't like Epic collections because they don't have the bullpen bulletins and in the reader's mail.
That's probably why they started putting out some of the facsimile editions Marvel did in like a trade paperback. Like I think Fantastic Four 1 through 12 is now facsimile edition is now a collected edition.
But nowadays when I read old comics that have reader mail, I don't feel like reading the reader mail because it's outdated somehow.
Yeah, I got not much interest in reading old letters pages either.
Epics don't have mortimeters. No, those neither did Marvel Comics. Those were in Wizard.
Oh, speaking of Marvel Comics, did you see the big news this week in comics world was layoffs?
Yep. Disney gets a new CEO, and almost you could clock it that,
Yep.
well, we got to get rid of some people, and it's not that the people did anything bad. It's just a sweeping thing CEOs do. I heard like whole departments for at least the Marvel Entertainment movie side was
Yeah.
let go. Marvel Comics, I think it was 3 staff members.
4.
4? Okay.
3 editors and the guy who didn't like Chris Giarruso's work.
Okay.
Well, in that case, we're happy.
He's been there for 23 years. Well, what's his name?
I saw all the names, or at least I thought it was 3 altogether. I don't recognize any one of them.
3 editors and that guy.
Yeah.
Who wasn't an editor. He was in like big decisions.
Sales or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was. And I was like, I saw the names, like nobody I know.
Yeah, nobody I knew. They're all after my time. But someone I read one of them was the editor of the new Daredevil #1 that just sold 300,000 copies.
Oh, wow.
That's smart.
Yep, they just that's just insane.
What was that guy's name? All I can think of is Dave Bogart. It said it's not Dave Bogart.
Right, Dave Gabriel?
David Gabriel, that's it. David
Okay.
Gabriel, I think it was.
Yeah, I think that was the name. Because it
He
was
was
like
he was the one who said, I can't make any money with Chris Giarruso comics.
Unfortunately, I guess that's why he's no longer there. He wasn't making
Mhm.
money. But, I mean, I'm joking, but I know nothing of this guy, and
Yeah, I barely know him.
it's messed up, and, it's one of those things that
Yeah.
unfortunately is part of the industry. It's a crappy part of the industry, but as I posted on Facebook, it happens. It's not their fault. And there's life after Marvel.
Yeah.
It stings, but what are you gonna do? I was fired from there, I think, 3 times.
Scott Koblish wrote this long comment about the horror of, going through that sort of stuff. And Marie Javins wrote a comment, and her comment was just something like, "Oh yeah, I remember that from the '90s, of course." And I learned a lot during that era, and I was like, "What the heck could she possibly?" That seems to me is just like a pat, and I'm like, learned a lot. I'm not sure what she learned. I certainly didn't learn anything.
I learned for a long time I disliked Marvel. It took me a while to go, all right, it doesn't bother me as much.
Learned a lot. Like that just must be a generic comment because I learned nothing.
Yeah.
I learned to survive and keep going, and it's still, it's still a little proudness to go, hey, I worked for Marvel.
Yeah.
Can I say it opens more doors for me? Probably not, but there's a cool factor to it that it's like, still looks good on a resume.
Huh.
Oh, it does.
Yep.
People hear Marvel and go, ooh.
Yeah.
What did you do at Marvel?
I did it all. When I got there, it was bankrupt. When I left, it became a company made $4 billion that Disney bought. So
Did you draw Spider-Man? Yeah,
I had
sure.
a bit to it. Yeah, I did some stuff. I did
Here's
some Spider-Man drawings. Yes, I did draw Spider-Man. sure they were on sketch cards, but there were still official Marvel logos on there. I retroactively co-created it with Roy Thomas. So, yeah.
Exactly. But did anyone buy any Marvel comic this week?
This week, no. Funny enough, I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
That's
I bought a thing. No.
No. But a book
Nuts.
that was popularized by Marvel Comics is G.I. Joe. This one is from
Ah.
Skybound. So this is the newest issue number 21. So it looks like we have Storm Shadow and I'm going to guess that's Scarlet in the background. Ooh, it's a silent issue.
Ah.
Oh no, wait. There is a little bit of talking. So the data file, but most of the book is taking place in the snow and silent. I don't know if we get a whole white page with no text or anything like that, but here is an issue. So this one should be an easy read because it looks like there's maybe 4 pages of actual text. And it is Scarlet on the cover.
Eric B says it was a really good issue.
Oh, wonderful. So we'll look forward to this one. So that was once a Marvel book. But now the stories continue in Skybound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
I'll
good that
show
they
you.
do it in number 21, and and it's kind of creative that they do it with Storm Shadow instead of
Instead of Snake Eyes.
yeah.
I'll pull out a random issue for you.
All right, what do you
This is
got?
one of last month's hot books, Nectar number 2.
Oh,
With
I
the
think
killer
they had
butterflies.
reprints of issue 1 at the
Right.
store.
It's pretty good. Who's doing this one? The writer is Jeremy Robinson. The artists are Anna Paola Martello. The layouts Francesca Francini. Colorist Steve Cannon. Letterer Jim Campbell. And this takes place in like Salem witch trial times or something like that. On what's the name of it? Misery Island. And these butterflies have arrived, and they can bite you, which butterflies usually can't do. And if they bite you, you get the dancing disease.
Oh wow, okay.
So the religious guy is trying to use God to make everybody die, and the science guy is trying to use science. There's the science guy to figure out what's going on. So it's a whole science religion thing with killer butterflies.
Fantastic.
I'll buy the rest of it. I enjoyed the first 2 issues a lot. It's got a nice feel to it too. Good cover stock. I always appreciate that. That always helps me decide when buying if I like the physical comic or not.
Nothing jumped off the shelf for me today. When I
Hmm.
went in, it was like I saw some facsimiles. It was like you know, Man of Steel number 1, and I was like, oh, that's tempting. But it's like that one was like one of those first books that had alternate covers, so I have them
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, it's John Byrne's Superman, but it's like, I don't need to pick it up.
Was there a new Resident Alien series?
I don't. I
Yes,
think
there
there's
was a
been one
new.
that just came out, but I haven't been following that one. So
Yes, I did see a cover on the stand, and it was like something like Returns or something like that. So it looks like there is a new one. I never got into I didn't even know the original was a comic book. I only knew of it as a TV show. So
It was quite a fun series, and
Yeah.
now I'm afraid that they're going to make changes to it just to reflect what's going on in the TV series.
I could
Because
understand that. I could see
because
that.
the TV show ruins it,
Yeah.
ruins Harry's personality.
I read some of it in Dark Horse Presents, and I think I read one trade paperback of it and enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I
it's
never
funny, I
picked it up
liked
and I
the
didn't watch
TV
it.
series except for the last season. I didn't make it through the last season. But it was a completely different thing.
Yeah, I never made it past the first episode. I don't even think I finished it.
Yeah, I saw 4 episodes and this said, okay, this is not what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm. I did get a facsimile this week, though.
Mm-hmm.
We got Hate #1. And I have the original. I have it in reprinted at least in 2 forms. Now I have a facsimile of the original. And I had fun reading it all over again. The Prisoner of Hate Island is the back too. That's pretty funny. So this first issue is all about Buddy Bradley like greets the reader at the beginning. And the whole issue is told from the point of view of the reader. So he's acting like you're a friend in the building with him. Like he greets you at the door, invites you into the house. Stinky shows up. Stinky's talking to you too. So it's an interesting first issue. No, none of the rest of the comic is like that. But it's an interesting first issue because it gets sort of the reader involved right away.
Right.
And it gives you a little bit of his history. And this came at the end of Neat Stuff, which ran, I think, 15 issues, which was like an anthology of his stuff, where the Bradleys were one story, the family who lived in New Jersey. And this is the oldest son, Buddy Bradley, who moves to Seattle in 1990. So there's a reason this became like the official comic of the grunge movement. And then there's a backup story, Prisoners of Hate Island, which is Peter Bagg, Gary Groth, and who's the third guy from Fantagraphics? Whose name I can't remember, the editor. Oh, I can't remember. He died a few years ago. Paolo knows who I mean. I know
Thompson,
it.
right?
Kim Thompson, that's it.
Yeah.
So Peter Bagg, Kim Thompson, and Gary Groth on an island, being cynical and funny, and Gary Groth trying to come up with hate, and the act of him finally coming up with hate is Gary Groth has to, as an act of art, blow up a toilet with a bomb. And that blows up the whole Hate Island. And then as Peter Bagg is flying along, he comes up with the idea to make hate. Kim Thompson and he come with the idea to make hate and about Buddy Bradley. So it's just such a good. I mean, the series is one of my all-time favorites, and it's a really good first issue too.
That was a very good kablooey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like no indication besides a $4.99 price and new ads in the back.
Okay.
It's even got the original indicia. It's like Hate #1, spring 1990. It's like they didn't even update the indicia to say facsimile.
So it's not a facsimile; it's another printing.
Yeah, because I think they have had multiple printings of Hate.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to complain that there's another printing of Hate? This is the type of comic that should get multiple printings. It's an indie comic.
Yeah.
Made by Fantagraphics.
Yep. It is.
It's not like people are going to, oh, I thought it was the original printing. I paid $500 for it. How much is Hate #1 worth?
Well, I got my CG Seed 7.0 of Hate #1 for $30. So I don't know what a 9.8 is.
Okay.
Not a ton of money, I assume.
Would
I
there be a
assume
9.8 existing?
I assume there's a 9.8 and it exists and Hate #1, and I assume it goes for about $150 to $200.
Okay.
Just because it's a CGC 9.8 #1 from 1990, you know.
Right.
So there'd be a certain value to it, but not.
Sure. I bet a raw copy just with the back end board probably sells for 10 to 20.
Yeah.
Because if you're collecting Hate, you don't really care that you need a first printing.
I would imagine like a high grade raw copy will cost you $50. If someone say, "Oh, high grade," it could be someone will be looking for that.
Not apart from that, yeah.
But like you can get, I was just looking, you can get a complete set of the series for $100 to $150, like all 27 issues. I don't know how high grade they'd be or whatever, or what printings they'd be, but like I saw one that was like issue 1 to 15. It said we're all not first printings, and it was, I think they wanted like $80 for the whole set. So not the most expensive thing in the world.
Captain Finney says in the Star Wars novelization, Luke had a dog. Keep media canonical content separate.
Yeah.
No. I like characters to be recognizable when they move across platforms.
Yeah. When you pick up a Spider-Man book, he should be Spider-Man in any form. You should recognize him as Spider-Man.
Yep.
And he should act like Spider-Man.
That's why you don't put bat dongs in comics.
One day somebody needs to make a book about comics that were pulled from circulation because of errors that nobody noticed or practical jokes by the artists. like the 80-page Elseworlds Giant, the Batman White Knight with the Bat Dong, that issue of Paradise Sex where Al Milgrom celebrated Bob Harris getting fired.
That was Spidey. Yeah, that was an issue of Spidey. Kazar, early issues of Kazar from I think the 80s. There's Cursing in the Grass. There is, and you know, again, these are the only ones that I'm aware of or found. You know, you have that Captain America one that was the yellow penis on Bucky from who did they figure it out to be? The
one of the
printer?
guys at the printer.
Yeah. So one of the printers guys doing that. There's one that hasn't been discovered, so I won't actually talk about that one.
There was a Wolverine that it was distributed. People only found out after buying the comic. I think it was during the Frank Thierry run.
Yes. So it was found, it was corrected, but it didn't get put into the final file to be corrected. It bypassed. It didn't really bypass everybody. What happened was it bypassed me reading it because I didn't notice it. I sent the artwork for the comics code. It bypassed the comics code. They didn't catch it. The office did catch it, corrected it, but for some reason the final files were not updated. And so it had Sabretooth saying a slur, a slur for Jewish people. That was a mistake in just typing. And it was like, it's just he was supposed to be the killer Sabretooth. And, you know, once I heard about it, again, not knowing what it even meant, and someone said, oh, that's for this. And it's like, but he's not Jewish. That doesn't make sense to curse
Yeah.
somebody out. And it
He-
was like, it was just a
that was-
simple mistake that got through everybody.
yeah, it was the mistyped and then autocorrect. That's why you should never have autocorrect in your in your Word, in your Microsoft Word or whatever.
There is at least one X-Men comic that was approved by the Comic Craft code instead of the comics code.
Heh.
Because for some X-Men, because we used to, this is in the digital days, put together the books on the computer, and we were in the bullpen were the ones who put the comics code authority stamp on the cover. But sometimes Comic Craft would do a special design, especially for an X-Men cover. And then they would send that to us, and we'd put the special design in the template and, send it out. What they would sometimes do is they would have they made up their own approved by the Comics Craft code, just as sort of a placeholder joke.
Yeah.
Mm.
But there was one time nobody noticed. Usually we just replaced it. There was no, but that one time it didn't get written. It actually got printed with approved by the Comics Craft code.
That's
And you know what? Nobody
amazing.
cared.
Nobody cared. And the funny thing is like covers, we did something that was called Run the Cover.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember that, Jared.
Yep.
So
It
it
Had
was
to be
the term.
signed off on.
So the
And back in
covers
the-
had to be signed off on. So it went to, because I did it at one point, I forget for who, but it was kind of like a fun thing to do because the interns did it, assistant editors would do it, and you basically had to go to certain people in the company, and they each had to sign off on them, and
Right.
each person's responsible for like this one thing, the corner box art, the copyright, the trademark is these things on those covers. I forget how many people had to sign off on it,
Yeah.
but
But that's
if
what happens when you
if-
make the mock-up thing look just like the final one. Just
Yeah.
about, except for a tiny little word.
and if you're having somebody sign their signature on the same form over and over again, it gets to the point where you're looking for more of a pattern.
Yeah.
Oh, the copyright, it says copyright. Copyright could be spelled wrong, and they may not catch it because they're not thinking about that. It's just that it's appearing on here. So whoever's signing off for the stamp sees that there's a stamp on there, but may
Yeah.
not have read it. So I
And it
see how
looks like the stamp
easily
that's always
that
on there.
yeah, you can see how
Yeah.
easily it would have been mistaken.
Right.
And a
usually-
copy would have been sent to the comics code, and it even passed them.
Usually the first thing I would always do is replace the stamp, when I got the digital file.
Right.
I don't think I was the one who worked on that. Who knows? But it just didn't happen one time.
Yep.
So somewhere out there.
Captain Infinity says he got 5 pages into Frank Herbert's Dune, and it was so Lynch and Villeneuve got the voice wrong. Relax about media canonical. Yeah. Auto corrupt. It is. Galvin says, thank you to everyone that makes these streams possible. Like a lot of people, there's a high level of stress and horribleness in the day, and this Friday night is an oasis and kind place. Yes, we are here for you. If you are having a bad day, you will see us acting even weirder than you ever thought possible, and it will make you feel good about
That's
yourself.
right.
Captain Infinity, what did Galvin said, apart from the kind?
Yeah, let's show you another comic. This is one I almost forgot to read before the show. I was going through my stack and said, I didn't read that one. This is Dead Teenagers, #2. I enjoyed the first issue. I enjoyed the second one too. Who's doing it? Writer Jude Ellison S. Doyle. Artist Caitlin Yarsky. Letterer Becca Carey. And this is the one where every it's a time loop, and every night these teenagers have to relive their prom, and they die. And this is the World War II Nazis and Soviets team up to kill everyone in the high school event.
Yes, that makes complete sense.
That's what they're saying. What is going on? These two fought each other. And then something new actually happens. They grow up. So all of a sudden, in this latest story, they have no memory of living their whole lives, but all of a sudden they're grown-ups. And they're like, oh, we're in each other's phones. They're trying to figure out what's going on because they've never been in this scenario before. So they're kind of running around waiting to die. A couple of them even have a kid. One of them's a famous movie star in her big apartment. I won't tell you what happens at the end, but it's a fun, interesting story so far, I have to say. Oh, and Mind Management by Matt Kint is coming back at Oni, so I'm looking forward to that. It's one of my favorites, Mind Management.
Missing Mars is here. Hello, Missing Mars.
Good evening.
Hello.
And Gore Vidal, who asks, are the girls Poland? Yes, that's a pertinent question. Are they Poland?
What does it say? Surrender your individual pursuits of freedom and bow to Mother Russia. What is wrong with American teens? Too busy enjoying degenerate rock and roll to become Ubermenschen?
So they're American kids.
I mean, the communists fought the Nazis. We had a whole unit on it. We are glad to have resolved our various differences.
It sounds like a very 80s Red Dawnish.
They mentioned that, I think. Scenario 5339 Red Dawn. They actually called it that.
Of course they did.
American teens, we will execute hostages until you reveal hidings of your cool guy leader, Ryer Hendry. We will teach him discipline and obedience to traditional authority figures, our mutual values.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. And Tick Goblin has on there, Go Wolverines.
Wolverines, yeah.
So it's been a good series.
Gore Vidal is buying the comic.
Yeah.
Just because. Although that is an interesting premise for a time loop.
Yeah.
Sure, it's but do they learn anything from being in a time loop? Like
so far, no.
No.
Like this is the first time something's changed when they show up as adults. They're like, "Whoa, something's changed. This is weird." And it's like in the time loop, despite every scenario being different. This person sacrifices himself to save people. This person is the first person to die. This person never dies before things reset. So things happen the same way, even though they're different.
So not Groundhog Day.
No.
No, it seems more like Sliders, where they're reliving the same time, but not necessarily the same universe.
Right. And all the scenarios are absurd.
Right. It's different so far.
Yeah. I have to say, I'm really enjoying the imagination in it. When I first heard the premise, I was a little
So that's issue number 2, right?
The Deuce.
Okay, so how many scenarios do you usually get per issue?
The first issue had like a dozen. This issue just had the 2. It had the 1 to begin, and then the whole thing, most of it was them being adults.
All right. Sounds like an interesting one. Yeah.
So I assume they're going to be stuck in this scenario for a little while. I mean, I don't know how many issues it's planned to be. Is it an Oni book? It's an Oni book.
Yeah, I think
And I
that's
think
the
Pete
only logo on it.
Yarsky has done some stuff for DC and Marvel. I remember looking at it. I never have any idea how these Oni books are going to go. They're usually short. Oh, a new Fort Psycho, Matt Kint and Brian Hurt, a 12-issue series. Whenever I see Matt Kint's name, I'm usually interested. Infinite Bullets, Zero, Fucks. Ooh, they blocked it out.
Ooh.
Nice logo.
Yeah.
Don't let the children see that.
I guess Flux House was Matt Kint's imprint he was doing at Dark Horse. I guess he's doing that at Oni too.
Captain Infinity says Groundhog Day and Rundle will run out repeating day tropes. Sliders and Counterpart are parallel universe stories.
Right.
But if you're always stuck visiting parallel universes and you're always in the same time period, but the details change, are you in a repeating day? If you do parallel universes, different parallel universes every day,
it's not the same day. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think they've ever addressed that in a parallel universe story. Like a time loop story, it's always the same day, but a parallel universe story, I don't think that well, sometimes like sliders would travel through time, wouldn't they? Sometimes they'd like be back in World War II.
No, they were in places where they were mimicking stuff that was past.
Okay.
But they were still in the current year. There was one episode in which it looked like their normal Earth, but everything was in the past, but it seems that the speed of rotation was slower. So everyone got older slower, which means that Mallory was still a teenager, and he corrected a mistake that he once did.
What was that one I was watching a few years ago now? It must be 5 years ago now. There's like a time travel story. Oh God, I can't even remember. They constantly had to go back in time and set time straight or something. And there's like a woman scientist and the guy who was a pilot. I can't even remember. It only lasted a season.
Yes. And I like that one too, and I don't recall the name of it. Oh.
Mind Management is really good if you haven't read it.
Yeah. So you do the Matt Kint recommendations for Go. Okay, so Captain Infinity says the difference is duplication of protagonists. No copies of characters equal repeating day. Duplicate counterparts equal parallel universes. But when Sliders visited other universes, there was not necessarily a parallel universe version of them. Sometimes there was, but usually there wasn't.
Well, like this one is different in that it's a time loop of parallel universes. That's not usual. Usually when you're in a time loop, I mean, you could count it as parallel universes because the different things happen each time, but that's because of you. So like Groundhog Day was a time loop. Like in a time loop, different things can happen each day according to what you do. But like in this one, it's definitely parallel universes because they have no control over what happens. And, one day it's a giant lizard killing them, and the next day it's Nazi communist team up. I bet it always resets back to the beginning. Yeah. Timeless. That's it. Timeless. Yeah.
If the parallel universe diverged along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it didn't stop, it would be a parallel universe. But since it stopped and went back to the beginning, it's a time loop.
Yeah, it's a time loop. It seems like a time loop of the day, but not necessarily that particular universe.
Well, like the original, what was the name of that one with Red from 12 p.m.? The one that they say inspired Groundhog. It was a short, and it was with Red from that 70s show. I forget his name, and he only had an hour. he had his lunch hour in the park. So he'd like wake up in the park at the beginning of his lunch hour, and at 1 p.m. it would reset again to 12 p.m. So he didn't even have a whole day. He had 1 hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, there was a long time. Well, sure, but the thing is, Sliders was not consistent in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had I think they was one of the first episodes. They go into a dimension where there's no penicillin, but Mallory's there. And so because there's no penicillin, there are no antibiotics, and everybody takes those homegrown medicines. But there's a Mallory there, and others. There was a point of divergence 4 years ago, but there are no counterparts of the main actors. So there's no consistency. It's whatever the plot dictated.
Yeah, it was whatever they were working on, and that show has so many interruptions from network and whatnot. Nothing really could stay consistent.
Yeah, and especially because we know that the real Arturo is still alive, but it's never addressed.
Yeah.
And then they replace Mallory with a different Mallory, and I kind of tune out when the Cro-Mags became
Yeah.
the. Oh my god! No.
It became just worse and worse and worse. So it's like, again, good premise, and then corporate gets involved.
Mm-hmm. Or people who have no idea what science fiction is start doing whatever.
Yeah.
Lots of fans hear about time and loops and future crap. It's a good genre. It must be a cool pop culture. It is. I mean, there's a lot of people who complain about time travel, but usually people, if you're into science fiction, you watch it.
Yeah, I just don't like it when they break their own rules, which happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe it's not a strictly parallel universe. Yeah, the thing is, if you start watching, here's the thing. The acting is good. The individual episodes are good. The continuing storyline is full of holes. So if you think of it more like The Outer Limits, and you're visiting realities, and you're visiting different episodes of The Outer Limits, it's okay. If you're following the plot along, you start noticing that the things don't make much sense.
I watched Sliders when it first aired and enjoyed it, but I never watched it again.
Yeah, I never revisited it.
Yeah.
No need to, really.
Yeah,
it was like, it was a fun thing.
Yeah.
But I would, I'm almost sure that if I sat down to watch it now, I just will get angry because it's like, I know where it's going, but you can see how good it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I can start watching Star Trek Enterprise, and then it gets better. I start watching Sliders, and oh yeah, this is the first Cro-Mags episode. Yeah, no, I can stop now.
It's like, once the original 4 starts to break up, it's like there's no reason to keep up with it.
Best time loop comic is Japanese. Except for I'm not a huge fan of the action scenes, but the rest of the comic is really good. This is the one that the Tom Cruise movie is based on.
Yep.
Edge of Tomorrow, is that it?
Yes.
If you ever get a chance to read this one, give it a read. It's really good. All you need is kill. Who does it? Death Note creator Takeshi Obata's manga adaptation of the hit novel by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. So, really good stuff. There's not a lot of time loop comics, I don't think, but this is a good one.
There was a Fantastic Four a couple of years ago. Dr. Doom needed to help the FF save the world, but the FF kept dying, and Doom kept going back in time trying to fix the mistakes. Captain Infinity is finishing up a book and analyzing time travel in fiction, and halfway through his comic about parallel universe. So the difference between the two is especially fascinating.
There you go.
Did Goblin like Sliders? Yeah, the problem with Sliders, to me, is more that you cannot. If you think of it as episodic fiction, it works. If you think of it as an ongoing storyline, it doesn't. But yeah, when you start messing with the cast, especially anything that has John Rhys Davis in it is good.
Yeah.
And that's the guy they got rid of.
Yep.
I'm okay with episodic fiction, though. I'm fine with it not making sense. I can live with that. Not that I'm watching it again, but I lived with that at the time, I should say, because it didn't make sense at the time either, though, as it went along. But I was okay with that. Like I said, my friend Rob, that stuff would bother him more because I'm not a backstory person. I'm okay with the story you're telling me. Rob wants even more. He wants, like lots of people, they love backstory. Lots of people love, more stories about Spider-Man when he was young or whatever. They love. I'm just like, keep moving forward. I don't care about the backstory.
I'm kind of the same way. It's like, if you give me some extra stuff, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to know what's going on now and just keep going from there. I tend to not. I don't think I go crazy of saying like, oh, why wasn't this addressed again? And it's like, no, people have stories, and then they had that experience, and then they move on. You don't need to be reminded of it. If it comes up, it comes up, but it doesn't really need to be. So when I hear people say, oh, it's hard to write XYZ character because he has so much backstory, and it's like, no, when you meet somebody, you meet them right there and then, and you may get some backstory, but you don't need it, and you go on from there. If it comes up, fine, but
you know what? I just decided, Jared Wilson, we can't be friends because I don't know everything about you that happened with you before I met you.
Exactly. And there are stuff that I completely forgot about that I can't even talk about because it's like, every once in a while, it's like, oh yeah, I did that, and it was like, but that was a job. I worked on this one project or that project, but again, it was like that was the job for that day, kind of a thing.
So like
Other things are more important, and other things are like, that's the day-to-day stuff.
Like some people love when they fill in the blanks, and I'm okay with them loving it.
Yeah.
That's their thing. They can love it. I'm just okay with the blanks.
Yeah.
It's okay with me.
Sure. I think that the reason it's harder not to get into a book after number one is because it's not the fact that it's number one. It's the fact that the books are not made to be read on their own in a lot of series.
There is that.
It's a chapter in the soon to be published trade paperback.
But on the positive side, it's easy to get the stuff in the trade paperback.
Yeah.
Like, I started Department of Truth, with issue number 5 or 6. But I knew I could go back and get, second, third printings or the trade paperback if I liked that one. If that one issue intrigued me, I knew I didn't have to understand the whole comic with that one issue. So there's that too.
Yeah, the first issue of Starman. I have about 3 or 4 issues of Starman, and the first one was a Times Past issue. But I knew I liked it well, and that it was intriguing well enough that when I started buying the trades, that I wanted to read the whole story, and I bought the trades. Of course, they're the old trades, which don't have the entire series because they're missing a few issues. But I get the whole story. It's not. I know that I'm not missing out on any particular plot development.
Right.
On those issues, because there were character spotlights, including one that I know that it's not there because I have the comic. It's an issue of Starman that was drawn by Gene Ha, and it focuses on Bobo Benetti, and it's a very good story. But they did not put it in any of the trades because it's in the middle of the episodes of the issues where Jack and Michael are in outer space.
Fill-in issue.
But it's not a fill-in issue. James Robinson is telling us the going around spotlighting the other members of the cast is something that James Robinson does from the beginning, because it's not Jack Knight's story.
Well, it's not a fill-in issue in terms of what a fill-in issue meant in 1974.
Sure.
It's a fill-in issue in what it means these days, where they plan for another artist to take over the story for an issue or two while the main artist catches up.
Sure.
So it's sort of a different. They're meant to kind of stand on they're not meant to be. Oh, we missed the dreaded deadline doom. So here's a fill-in issue. They planned it that way.
Yeah, written by Al Milgram and drawn by Mike Dringenberg. Any writer complaining about taking over a character with too much backstory, come up with your own IP. Yes. But this story has to be told as a Spider-Man story. I can see it that way. But I want to write a Spider-Man story. Just don't want to write a Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that in a time travel story with multiple timelines, the new timeline is created by the protagonist? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's the whole point of going time traveling. So you can create a new timeline. In a parallel universe story, Universe B is almost always pre-existing. Yeah. Right. The America lost the Independence War, so it's still Britain. That has nothing to do with the protagonist, unless the protagonist is we have been a colony of England for 500 years. I must go back in time and make sure that the traitor Washington actually wins, which is kind of a weird thing to say. No, imagine that you're living in an America that never stopped being a British colony, and is the world really that bad that you want to go back in time and make sure Washington wins? I mean, I don't know if it's different. I don't know if it's bad.
Right.
If you don't think that, there's no story.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Tit Goblin thinks Wilson sounds like an assassin.
I'm a freelance artist. I'm a freelancer. Like Boba Fett. It's just a job. Just like Boba Fett, it's just a job.
Yeah. I feel nothing.
Pretty much. There was a time where it's like, no project I do is going to make or break my career. There are projects I've done that my name was not going in the book. It doesn't need to go in the book as long as it's going on the check. That's all I care about. Because there have been books that I was young and I needed the money.
And there might be books that you're old and you need the money.
Exactly. Because again,
or you can say
freelance.
Or when somebody asks you if you tried the comic, try the comic. Really, I just helped making them and selling them. I can afford to get hooked on this stuff.
That's the other thing too. Yeah.
I have to put this book away. The green shininess keeps catching my eye.
Oh yeah. Every time cover. Somebody, yeah, anytime they do those covers with shiny material, to me that's always bad design.
Well, then you were not at the Pittsburgh Con in 1997.
No, I mean,
when my friends and I were self-publishing our book, we went to Pittsburgh to do the Comic-Con. And 1997 was probably one of the worst years ever to be publishing a comic book, because Marvel was bankrupt. People didn't care about comics. And here we were. That was what the time and the money we had to publish our book. So I'm at the Pittsburgh Comic-Con and nobody cares. I'm telling you, nobody's selling them. I'm there with some other people, I remember Steve Ellis was there and Jamal Ingle were at the table next to us. But it was like the fans were walking by, not even interested in anybody's comics. I think there was, I think Jim Lee may have been there and he had a line for autographs and that was it. Everybody else was just kind of standing there. Except for across the aisle from us was these people doing indie comics, the Three-Legged Black Cat Society. And they had little mini comics, self-published, and they were doing a brisk business. They were the only ones doing a brisk business. And their comics were all, Xerox, folded over, stapled comics, except they also had, some of them had shiny covers. And, we'd go over there and talk to them every now and then. And the one girl whose name I have it in my photo albums because I took a picture of her, but I can't remember it now. But she goes, if you learn one thing from this weekend, it's that women like shiny things. And sure enough, they were selling all their shiny covers, mostly to young women. And I was just like, whoa. And they were the only ones selling anyone. So whenever I see a shiny cover, I think of that. I'm like,
Yep.
Pablo might not like that shiny cover, but a lot of other people do.
How many issues did you end up doing of your book?
Doing or printing or selling?
Creating. Like, did you go
Creating
past issue 1?
6 issues.
6 issues?
4 issues of our anthology and 2 issues of my own book. So I put out 6 issues. First one had I think we gave out more by hand than went through Diamond.
Right.
I mean, the sales through Diamond were so low, it was shocking. I think our initial print run for the first one was like 4,000, and we sold 200 through Diamond. That's how bad it was. And we weren't unusual. That's how bad the industry was. And then Ed, who did the book with me, he handed out at least 500 as his business card for years after that. He would just hand them out anytime he needed work. Like anybody who was working, who he was getting work from because he was a freelancer, he'd hand out that book to. So I think he definitely distributed more than Diamond did.
And Diamond did? Okay.
And I still have thousands in the garage. So, and I think the later issues had print runs of like 2,000 and maybe the same 100 or 200 through Diamond. Like nobody has them.
Right.
Except me. I've got plenty of them.
You did more mints.
There you go.
Ooh.
So the next book I got here is Absolute Batman, issue number 19. I hear it's a very good book. And a lot of people talk about it. So I'm guessing Absolute Robin is introduced because
someday you'll read it.
Someday I'll read it and be excited about it. But I hear good things.
My shop had a lot of later printings out this week too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So they had like a lot of issues available of 3rd, 4th, 5th printings, whatever.
So it looks like maybe introducing the other Robins because they have all their names, or maybe someone is just making up names.
Is that Oliver Queen? With the eye patch and the Van Dyke?
I don't know. He has an R on his name, on his shirt as well. No, that's Slade Wilson.
Oh, okay.
So,
that makes sense. Yeah.
That's right. He looks like that too.
Yeah.
Why does he have an R?
I do not know.
He's the original Robin.
Maybe. But so it looks like a something called Grim House was producing Robins. I am not too sure. If anyone else is reading this, let us know. But it looks like there's a whole group of people being called Robin.
See, that's the thing now. If you like reimagine Batman, you don't have to create just one Robin. You can create like 9 of them.
Yeah, you You don't have to have a slow burn on any of the stories.
No.
You could go right into the craziness of it.
We go, okay, we got 12 Robins for you right here. The Robin Squad is after you.
Yep, exactly.
Just about everybody at my shop has Absolute Batman on their pull lists as
Yeah,
well.
it's selling well. It is doing well. I haven't read it at all, but it's keeping comic shops alive.
Exactly. You know, there seems to be a bit of a buzz
Yep.
of people talking about shops, and hopefully that'll keep going. Although there was an article that recently came out that was, as usual, spelling the demise of comics,
Ah,
and I just haven't had the wherewithal to read what they think is happening, because it's always the ones not working in the industry that's spelling out the doom. And
yeah.
it's like, yeah, you just stopped reading the books you liked and didn't bother going anywhere else.
As John Romita once said, I've lived through the death of comics about 3 times.
Kid, if I had a nickel for every time someone told me that comics are dying, I could have retired by now.
Gonna catch my breath for a moment.
Whoop, Captain Infinity has new ideas. Clones. They can be caused by time travel in their parallel universes. Or clone device. Starfleet transporters. Yeah.
Yep.
Every time someone transports, they transport to a parallel universe, but they can't tell the difference.
Because the only difference was they woke up and went left to the bathroom instead of right.
Yep.
And then at the end of the day, it all comes back together. So I say, so they could be universes breaking off and coming back at the end, and we just never know.
Somebody you don't even know turned left instead of right to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Or somewhere on the other side of the universe,
Yeah.
a proton went this way instead of that way, and there's no difference in anything whatsoever. So you got to really travel far to get to a universe that something seems off.
You might even have to travel an infinite distance.
And nothing may happen.
Because the changes are so micro, they're infinite. So big. That's like, oh, what was that? That book I read last semester, A Short Stay in Hell. That was really good. That had the hell that the guy was in was a library. And whoever the devil was like, oh, the library's not infinite. We wouldn't do that to you. You can get out. But the library had every book in it ever possibly written. Not just like with like characters. And the characters could all be blank spaces with one X in the middle. So it's like, and I think the average length was like 400 pages, so many words, so many sentences a page. There was some number, and eventually somebody there figured it out that the number was so big that it may as well have been infinite. So it was like, that was the devil's joke. No, it's not in, and you had to find the book that told the story of your life. And once you did that, you got to move out of that hell. And the hell was just you finding the book.
Right.
There was nothing else there. But a near infinite library with lots of people living in it is just, it was a really good, it was a short book, only about 100 pages, but really good stuff. Let me show you a comic I got. What did I get? The last issue 3 of another Matt Kint book in David Lapham, Night City. And this is the one that's sort of a Lex Luthor Superman story. And it was fine. That was the problem. The ending was just fine. The ending, which was also kind of a non-ending, was only 3 issues. But I don't think the ending was as good as the questions it asked. Superman was like a Superman character, except he got his powers from humanity's belief in him. So he had to be believed in. And the Lex Luthor-like character wanted to kill him because he just didn't like him. And found out that this Superman, he had some special tank he had to sleep in. And Lex Luthor found out he could be hurt in his dreams. So he's going to try and kill him in his dreams. It was, like I said, the questions it asks, I think, were better than the ending. But it was an enjoyable read. I'll have to, it's only 3 issues. I'm going to have to read it all again one of these times just to see how it, reads all together instead of months apart. But it was fine. I generally like both Matt Kint and David Lapham stuff. So it was definitely a must buy for me. Though I do like David Lapham's stuff better when he writes it himself. And I do like Matt Kint's stuff better when he draws it himself.
Interesting. So Captain Infinity asks, what is our opinion that on the idea that parallel universes cheapen character deaths because they can be easily replaced by a clone or near clone?
I 100% agree with that. It was the League of Reed Richards that made me go, I just don't care anymore.
Sure.
There are so many versions of characters that it doesn't matter if a character lives or dies. You're right. There's another one there to take his place. There's no sense of drama.
Yeah,
but they're IP.
Yeah, when Kang made a major comeback during Roger Stern's run, and all of a sudden you had the Council of Kangs, and one of the Kangs was killing all of the other Kangs. And it really doesn't really matter because all of those Kangs are actually parallel, are actually time duplicates of each other.
I could at least accept that in villains, because villains are not supposed to be special.
Right.
The heroes are supposed to be special. And what all these alternate versions show us is they're not necessarily special. There's some other version who can be special at a moment's notice.
And nowadays, when the Squadron Supreme shows up, they're never the original Squadron Supreme. Right. They're also not the Squadron Supreme from Supreme Power, although they are visually influenced by them. Right. And I think that the Squadron Supreme have become plot devices for whenever you want to do a parallel universe storyline. So they change Squadron Supreme according to the needs of the plot.
Right. And I think this is all the fault of Days of Future Past, too. Because that was the first comic I know of that gave us the drama of beloved characters' deaths without the repercussions. And everybody discovered they could do that.
Right.
They could give you the drama of a beloved character's death without any damage to the IP, because it wasn't the real character.
You go into the past, and Captain America or Reed Richards sacrificed himself to save everybody else. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because it's a future timeline that no longer exists.
Right.
Right.
Eric asks, did you check out the HAB #1, David? What's that?
No, I missed that one.
Lapham Sinkovich and Jacob Phillips.
The HAB #1. Is that a Vertigo? I vaguely remember seeing it, something with that, but I think I passed on that one for some reason. I didn't see it in the shop either. The HAB. You know what it is? I got 10 comics this week, so sometimes it's like, ooh, I have to. So probably that week, that one. It's from Bad Idea. That's why I didn't get it. I don't look at any Bad Idea books anymore. Too much PTSD for me in Bad Idea right now.
Captain Infinity, his mind is on overload today. There's only 2 universes, and the baddie assassins from Universe B are trying to erase their goody protagonist counterparts in Universe A. Plus bonus points for permanently bumping off some goodies permanently. Well, here's the thing: they don't count as versions of you from the same version of you, because if they kill you and you're the good guy and the other ones are the bad guys, then the bad you now takes over your life and continues to be bad. So it's not the same character from a psychological point of view. Eric says it's from Bad Idea.
Right. Oh, here's something I finally pulled the trigger on this week. The collected edition of Sax Romer's. I'm glad it's magazine size. I wasn't 100% sure. And I just finished reading this in Eclipse magazine and monthly. So I started out just by reading the back stuff, which is pretty cool. They've got an afterwards by Colleen Duran. They've got Sax, Drugs, and the Yellow Peril. Some pages about Sax Romer. The Red Key Mysteries, another short page about Sax Romer, I think that is. Other drugs of choice. So there's a lot of good... I read all this back material and really enjoyed it. And eventually I'll reread Dope all at once. Like I said, Slumming in the East End. Let's see. The Devil Doctor in comics. That's Fu Manchu. So a lot of good historical stuff in the back. Biographical sketch of Trina Robbins. Cost me $8 all in, shipped and taxed. Had to take a bunch of stickers off it. But definitely worth it. Like I said, I wasn't sure what size it was going to be. I was hoping it was magazine size and not a smaller size. And I'm very happy with the size and the production of it. So
that's a comic that if I could get the rights to it, I could publish in Portugal in that size and format. And knowing that I can publish it because it's a one issue and it's one volume, and nobody's going to rush to Amazon to buy volume 2 in English, which means my publishing plan is intact.
IDW published this version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who the copyright is.
It should be the estate of Trina Robbins right now.
Dope is copyright Trina Robbins, so whoever her estate is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you could.
Who's the editor on this type of projects nowadays?
Let's see. Who was the editor when this came out? IDW Publishing. Drew Ford, publisher, editor-in-chief. That's the only editor listed here. But this, as of 2017, it was Drew Ford. I don't know. I think IDW has changed since then.
Right.
When the owner's children came in to save the company. Just the people needed.
Yeah.
Lettered by Tom Orzechowski. So it's also got nice lettering.
Mm-hmm. That is exactly. That's their nefarious plan.
There's a foreign license section of their website.
Yeah, at least you should contact the publisher, because the publisher probably has the files that you can work from. So
yeah.
The rest is all handled as royalties. Although if you publish something in another country, not only do you have to pay creators royalties to the creator, you also have to pay royalties for the use of the materials to whoever came up with them.
Okay.
So it's not just a representation fee. You actually have to pay IDW to use their materials in order to create your own stuff.
Oh, okay. So you were looking for the publisher. You had a CEO, CFO, president, publishing operations.
Who would that be?
Console. So the president, publishing operations is Tara McCrillis.
Yeah, I think that's probably the daughter of the owner. I know the son and daughter took over of the venture capitalist who bought IDW.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No one in editorial that I know. None of these names are familiar.
The IDW's gone through some changes in the last few years. Another book I got this week is the final issue of Stefano Cartacelli's Where Does the Rainbow End? He's the guy who gave us our flamingos. I do enjoy his artwork a lot. The third issue was fine. It was just kind of a battle. Because the whole story was about these robots who raised a little girl. And then it turned out that, and they live on a landfill in New York City. That's like off the coast somewhere. And there's the robots who work for humans, and there's the retired war robots. And the robots who work for humans found a little girl. And the first 3 issues were about them raising this little girl. There's a nice story. Like I really enjoy this Stefano Cartacelli artwork and storytelling. But it turns out she's good at fixing robots. So the war robots wanted to take her to fix them too. So this whole issue was the climax of sort of the battle between the regular robots and the war robots. And it was fun, but it was just like a battle solves things, kind of. And then they kind of make peace, and the girl's like, I'll fix you all, or something like that. So it didn't really have a great ending, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. I think it's one of those that I didn't expect to have a great ending, because it wasn't it had a pleasant little premise, and it was a pleasant little story, but it wasn't anything particularly intriguing. It just beautifully visualized and fun. So not everything has to be great, especially when it's got some nice Stefano Cartacelli art. Who's got another book coming out next week from Keen Spot or somebody. I'm like, this seems I'm buying a book a month from him. Between
producing.
Yeah. Between I think Keen Spot and Mad Cave both have stuff from him.
I the name Drew Ford was kind of familiar, and then I checked. He was the one that was doing all those Sam Glanzman reprints at IDW 10 years ago.
All right. Yeah, I know his name.
Yeah, and I noticed his Instagram hasn't been updated in quite a while, and then did Drew Ford die? And I checked, he did. He died he died of pneumonia 4 years ago. Yeah.
Right, I remember that now.
Which is a real shame, because the guy was doing interesting projects at IDW.
Sax Romer's dope. I wonder who who came up with that one.
Yeah,
because it's been around for a long time.
He did all the Sam Glanzmans. He did the Air Boys. Yeah, the imprint was called It's Alive Press. Yeah, they used to have an active page in that, and I did go there a few times. Guy wasn't even 50.
Wow. Yeah, I remember seeing his name around for years. So we probably talked about him when he died.
I think we did. I think I did mention it a few. Because he was doing a lot of interesting Yeah, I think we did talk because he was doing interesting projects. Because I had noticed the Sam Glansman reprints. There was a lot of talk about it.
The USS Stevens.
There was the USS Stevens, but also a few weird Western.
Okay. Because I liked the USS Stevens a lot. That was a good book. That was the first time I'd read all that stuff. I don't remember who published it, but it was good. There was a complete collection of that from the DC stuff and Marvel stuff and whatever else he had. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he was trying to do it. He was trying to do a complete volume of Puma Blues in it, and I don't think it came out.
No, that came out.
That came out. Yeah.
It came out from somebody.
Okay. But the NAS didn't come out.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I do have the complete Puma Blues volume.
Yeah, and the Aztec case I think did come out. Yeah, but then the NAS didn't, because I would have noticed. I would have gone for that.
And Captain Victory never came out. I saw someone bring that up online recently.
You can probably recreate the printing files.
Yeah, it'd have to be reconstructed these days, which people can do. But what did I just see that was someone said was really well reconstructed? I saw some pages of it and it looked good. Steve Ditko, Ghostly Tales, the Charlton stuff from the 70s. Someone just put out a volume of a big collection of it, like $80 or something. And someone was showing it off online. I forget where. And they said the printing is really nice. And they showed it and it was really nice. It didn't look like it was scanned from printed pages.
Yeah, it can be done as long as there's someone paying for it, or
right.
Or someone has the passion to do it, knows what they're doing, and they're just doing it. Because I've been asked many a times about.
I think a lot of that Charlton artwork did exist, like stats of it, because I know Mort Todd bought some. So someone could have bought the Ghostly Tales stats, scanned them in, and recolored them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about $60. Came out in December, last December, and I think it's about $60.
Yeah, and I must have been small press because there was like no discount on it.
Right. Yeah, I can't find the Amazon listing. Doesn't have a publisher.
And it was even more expensive, I think, on eBay.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Famous Comics. I'm gonna go on the GC. I'm gonna go on the GCD and check out who
famous. Check out who Famous Comics are.
All right. So, okay. So the name Famous Comics is here, but they only have one comic in there from. No, wait. This is Robin Snyder's. Oh no, there's a lot of comics here. It's Robin Snyder's publishing house for Ditko material.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Because Robin Snyder was always the one that was that got to interview Ditko.
Right.
I guess Ditko trusted him.
Yeah, but he published all of Ditko. He could all of Ditko's stuff with him.
Yeah, a bunch of one-shot stories. Laszlo's Hammer. What's this?
Wow.
Yeah.
That just reminds me, I was reading more about, were you reading, what was it? The Marvel Method Facebook page today, Paolo, with, what's that guy's name? White. Was it Robin White? Stan Lee's assistant, who's no one's ever heard of. I forget his name. He in like 1966, He was big because one guy was questioning what the bullpen was like for gay people in the 60s and 70s or whatever. Because
What do you
something
think?
yeah. Because it's something Jim Shooter and the Jim Shooter era in particular, Michael Higgins was answering some questions for him. But there White, I think it was Robin White. It was like WHIT, and it's somebody who, for some reason, no one has really heard of. But his papers are in the Yale University Library.
Huh.
And the most scripts from Silver Age Marvel are in his papers.
Okay.
And because no Stan Lee scripts, no scripts exist from Marvel in the early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like 20 Spider-Man scripts because he was Stan Lee's assistant in the 60s. I couldn't quite figure out how long he was there. Some people, like the one mentioned, said the summer of 66. He was like, and he has such a horrible story. He was he had birth defects. So, and someone wrote a blog about him and so he had the doctor, he was born with like his legs not right. And the doctors said he'd probably never walk. But and he had like one misshapen arm. And his father said that, but his father was an engineer and built him braces so he could walk. But then when he was in high school, a bus ran over his ankle. It's just like, dude. So then he couldn't walk even more. So eventually he walked with the help of braces and canes. And like in the summer of 66, I don't know for how long he was, and he was also a sort of very minor playwright. And he won some awards in like the 60s and 70s. And Stan Lee knew his plays. They think that's why he got hired. But he never really, but then he quit or got fired from Marvel in like summer 66, it must have been. And he died in like 1989, but nobody really knew he existed. Everybody, because who knows why. And he was also gay. Not a very happy guy, as you might imagine. But he has scripts. When his stuff went to Yale, they discovered it. I think it was Yale, they said. I can't even remember. But it's amazing that this guy no one's ever heard of has got he's got like and he would sit in with John Romita and Stan Lee as they plotted Spider-Man. He would help plot the Spider-Man issues. He has the script for Face It, Tiger, You Hit the Jackpot. With words crossed out until they got those. But they don't know who wrote the scripts. Because he said he wrote some stuff. He at least helped out on the room. We don't know exactly what and they were written on Marvel typewriters because apparently Marvel had typewriters with distinctive fonts. But they don't know if who wrote the scripts because people ghost wrote Stan Lee's scripts. We know that. So it was really interesting to read, just like this guy nobody's really ever heard of has this material. And like, people remember him too once you're told about him, but he wasn't there very long. Roy Thomas doesn't like him, calls him a liar.
Huh.
And then said, well, maybe he's not lying that much. Softened his stance on him a little bit because the scripts are there. They exist. They have paid, the guy who went to the college, I think now I'm not remembering if it's Yale or not. I got a cold, but some famous library. But it's in the Marvel Method. And I've read about him like 6 months ago too, and probably mentioned him, but read about him even more today. Interesting part of comic history that we don't really know much about.
Yeah.
Another guy in those early days who got forgotten. Stan Lee's assistant. But man, just reading that his leg, and then he got in high school, his ankles got run over by a bus. I was just like, oh, come on. The dude already is hurt.
Mhm.
You don't have to run over his ankles with a bus, World? Come on.
Yeah, no, but I didn't notice because this week they decided that they were going to go after Vince Coletta for having a mansion and Jim Shooter for hiring Vince Coletta.
Yeah, I know there was some shady stuff going on with Vince Coletta, but I'm always like, did Vince Coletta really make so much money inking comics
No, he could not.
that he had to bribe the editors with women that he paid for? That just
no, that makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that stuff didn't happen. I don't know, but that makes no sense.
And even if he wasn't made and he was connected, it's not like the made man would let him borrow girls just for that.
Yeah. Now I know I heard the story. I think it was from Rick Parker. I'd have to.
He probably did have a connection. He probably had a side hustle. Maybe he was their pimp. Who knows?
I can't believe a pimp would be inking comics for Marvel
just for fun.
Just for fun, and
yeah, I don't know.
That doesn't seem seem like you'd have a better side. But I know, like I said, I think this came from Rick Parker. He said that Vince Coletta wasn't a mobster. He liked to give off that impression, but he was mob adjacent. Because one day, Rick Parker, for some reason, was hanging out with Vince Coletta. Like I said, I think this was Rick. It had to be. Who else could it be? I'll have to ask him. And Vince Coletta was filling in for one of his mob buddies collecting money. Meaning that when you were running a protection racket, someone had to show up every week and collect the mob cut. And usually that was sort of a low-level mob guy thing.
Right.
You know, the boss, if some young guy went by, and for whatever reason, Vince was filling in for that guy, his friend, just to collect. And he went around with Rick and he collected the money and he went about his day. So Rick said he wasn't a mobster, but he was mob adjacent. So I don't know if he was bribing Marvel editors with women. It was because he had a connection for the women. It wasn't because he was running the women. It was because he knew them and maybe those women would do him a favor. I can see he knew those women. So he was like, you guys want to party with some Marvel Comics guys? And they're like, we're in our off hours. We can. But I can't see him paying money for them.
No.
There just wasn't that much money in comic book inking.
Right.
There was probably a lot more money in prostitution.
Yeah, very few stories I heard was more of like a friend of a friend said this.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
I heard that direct from, like I said, I think it was Rick. I'll have to ask him next time I see him.
Yeah, it was like one of the art reps was like,
if he'll admit it when he's old, I don't know. Some people like tell you stories when they're young and then refuse to say they tell them.
Right.
Or some people tell you more stories when they're old and don't care anymore.
Yeah, it's like I had an art rep tell me some sort of thing about Vince, and it was like, well, you know how it was back then. This would happen and that would happen. And I was like, no, I didn't know any of that. Is any of that true? It's like, I heard this. And it's like,
yeah.
You know.
But there's also like, being that comics is a freelance business, so many freelancers will take their secrets to their graves. They won't tell you anything bad about any editor ever. I mean, sure, there are Sure, there are the ones who don't care and never get work again, but most people are like, yeah, talking about blowing your ink budget. Exactly.
Womp womp.
Like, if that story happened, it was because Vinny was mob adjacent and knew girls who wanted to party, not because he was a pimp
Right.
getting inking work.
Yeah. There's a story about Stan Lee asking Vinny to introduce him to Frank Costello when Costello was already retired, and then Stan Lee made a joke, and Vinny had to get him out of there. It was embarrassing. Yeah, last time I bring in somebody from the world of arts to say hello to Frank Costello.
Now, I did used to hear stories in the early 90s of editors bringing prostitutes up to the building after hours, but that's because there was prostitutes downstairs. I mean, I always heard, besides occasionally I'd hear about an editor bringing a prostitute up. I'd always heard, oh, if you're in Marvel's Corner after dark, there's prostitutes everywhere. And I was never on Marvel's Corner after dark. I was like, what? No way. Because it's Park Avenue and 28th Street. It's Midtown.
Right.
It's not Hunts Point. I think that's the part I always heard prostitutes were up at. I don't really know. But one day I stayed late helping Mark Teixeira. And I went downstairs, and sure enough, there was 10 prostitutes standing on the street, or at least I assume were prostitutes. So I was like, whoa, they weren't lying. Look at this. But usually at 5 o'clock, I was out of there. We were hitting some bar somewhere, hanging out.
Right.
Looking for women who weren't prostitutes.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have to pay for the drinks. You need another mint. Maybe they were cosplayers.
Maybe they all decided to cosplay as hookers that day.
They could have been pulling a prank on me. I am not saying they weren't.
Yeah,
but
they were models for John Romita Jr.'s Hellfire Club uniforms.
But it's like, you remember, of course, Park Avenue and 28th Street. There was nothing shady about it at all.
Yeah. Most of the business closed down at 5.
Yeah, Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah. The only times
as unshady as it gets.
Yeah, the only times I would ever be there would be like, walking by it to go back to the train after hanging out at the bars.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But that area is usually dead. But yeah, I've seen them walking around.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like, yeah, I guess that's where they are. But
they weren't lying to me.
They weren't.
Now, of course, now that I mentioned John Romita Jr., was he into BDSM in the 80s and 90s? Because every character he redesigned had a choker.
I don't know.
I do not know.
Because all of a sudden,
it might have been the time period for that. It was either put pockets on people or maybe chokers.
I know he always seemed to be a happy guy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because in the 80s, when he redesigned the X-Men, so everybody had a choker. And of course, it's when Storm goes punk. Then Callisto also has the same uniform. Rachel used to wear some pretty bold outfits. Rogue didn't, but Rogue had to be covered up because of her power. But still,
I think they all had chokers because it makes the neck and shoulders easier to draw. You can put a definitive line there.
Right, but why did you need to have the buckle for the choker?
Realism.
Because it was punk. That's what was popular.
Realism. Let's see, I got a superhero comic.
Ooh.
Super Creep Show.
That's a Spawn.
Todd McFarlane Batman piggyback.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 covers. That's the A cover. And there's a 2-story. Super Creep Show is the horror stories about superheroes. We get one, Jerry Duggan, Scott Bueno Cristiano, Mike Spicer's the colorist, Pat Brousseau the letterer, and the other one, Marv Wolfman writes. Michelle Rubini is the artist, Miguel Muerto the colorist, and Pat Brousseau the letterer. And what I like best about these horror stories is there's no twist. There's no twist ending. It just gets worse. Kind of a twist in the middle. This one's about a superhero with mind control powers that good things don't happen to. So that was a fun one. And the second one is about the reluctant vampire trope. Matter of fact, it even tells you it's about the reluctant vampire trope. It's about, why is there always a vampire who doesn't want to be a vampire and is romantic? And things don't work out well for the reluctant vampire. But both were fun stories. I enjoyed them both. And it's funny because I read this reluctant vampire trope one right after watching a little video on how the romantic vampire trope does not come from Dracula.
Yes, I watched that same video and I was
Right.
fascinated by it.
It comes from Barnabas.
Yeah, Dark Shadows.
The Dark Shadows, yes. That was the first thing that had the romantic vampire in it, who's everybody thinks it comes from Dracula because so many versions of Dracula since then, movie versions, have put this romantic storyline in, but it's not in the original Dracula. The first vampire romantic storyline where some woman reminds him of his past true love is Barnabas in Dark Shadows. I was like, oh, interesting. Never heard of that before.
That it becomes makes that so popular that it becomes the lore to vampires in general.
Right.
And it's like I was fascinated by that.
And that Marv Wolfman story was playing with the reluctant vampire lore. The, if a good person gets turned into a vampire, they, might be reluctant and not be evil. Didn't matter. The vampire hunter killed him anyway.
Oh, that poor vampire.
The only good sucker is the dead sucker. Played.
There you go.
Let's see.
Captain Infinity said that will explain the French made out. Yeah, there was that issue where Rachel and Kitty trying to infiltrate the Hellfire Club, and Celine gets them and puts them on a leash.
That might have been the writer. Maybe that was the idea. You never know. The next book that I have here is a one-shot. Actually, I don't know if it's a miniseries or not. Is Mumra the Ever Living from Dynamite Entertainment. And so we get an origin to Mumra. Now, if you guys remember the cartoon, Thundercats takes place on Third Earth, which is Earth just like it rise, falls, rise, falls. So this starts off on First Earth, Old Kingdom in Egypt, and we get an origin to Mumra. Let me skip through all these ads. So at some point, he's either betrayed or at least hurt, and he goes to one of the tombs, and he finds looks like a device that has them access the ancient spirits of evil that will eventually transform his decay form into Mumra, the ever living. So it's the origin to Mumra himself. And since it looks like the story does continue. Yes, it says book 1 complete. So, not sure how many issues, but it has a whole lot of covers, or at least 2 pages of covers.
That just reminds me, I just watched a video. A new paper came out on yet a new way they may have scaffolded the pyramids in order to build them.
Okay.
Found it interesting because they're always trying to come up with new ways for exactly how they built the pyramids and what scaffolding they used or how ramps. Or this one had a spiral ramp, which is not new, but
Right.
one spiral ramp from each corner, kind of. So there was multiple ramps, so they could keep multiple. And the guy even calculated how long, because part of what they have to figure out to do when they're trying to figure out the exact method is how much time it would take. Because if the method you figure out takes 100 years to build, that ain't the one.
That exactly.
So this one was 13 years, I think they said, which is
Okay.
under
I think I have.
27, which was the reign of the pharaoh. So they're like, oh, it could have been this one. But I always find that stuff interesting.
I do, especially when they're the ones that seems a little more plausible.
Yeah, there's one YouTube channel I watch called Ancient Architects, and he's plausible. He's not into crazy nutsy theories. He's actually, and this is an official scientific paper kind of thing too.
Okay.
So, but sometimes he goes over the crazy nutsy theories. Matter of fact, when he first started, I've been watching him for years. When he first started out, he didn't know much about the pyramid, so he was kind of intrigued by the crazy nutsy theories. But the more he actually dug into it, the less he was interested in the crazy nutsy theories. 13 years, yep, for the building the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Khufu. Make it sound so easy, yeah.
So there were no aliens involved. Pass.
There usually never is.
Aliens.
Or you have the crazy Graham Hancock, and he describes the guys having. He describes what looks like a tractor beam to carry stones up to the Andes. So that
tractor beams.
Yeah. It's very easy to dismantle the notion, the Graham Hancock's notion that the survivors of the Great Disaster had to spread agriculture throughout the planet. You see, they neglected to carry any seeds anywhere. Otherwise, you would have potatoes everywhere, and you don't.
Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the easiest crop to grow, and they leave it in Central America and make the European caveman grow wheat and barley while they're building where they're supposedly using their superpowers to build Gobekli Tepe, which is also another thing that can be done by any caveman.
I was just watching something today in one of the true crime channels that I watch about the deaths of certain scientists in recent years. And somehow it was tied into the U.S. Congress has recently had a hearing where they said they had to release all these files on, they don't call them UFOs anymore. They call them some other initials that I can't remember. Aerial phenomenon. I forget what. But I still remember years ago watching something on UFOs and the guy saying, going back to the 50s, all this, the U.S. military or whoever used UFOs as a cover for all their stuff. That's what they did. And he's like, I forget who it was back in the 50s and 60s who was like the head of the trying to find out who the UFOs were. He's like, he's ex-US Air Force. You trust the ex-US Air Force guy? They're the ones covering up. He's working for the Air Force. And sure enough, even today, if you look at a lot of these guys who are whistleblowing or whatever, I'm like, they're all ex-Air Force. They're on the Air Force's payroll. They're not giving you the secrets.
Yeah, it's all the stuff they were building that we see now.
Yeah.
So he's the perfect person to put in because he could know
Yeah.
exactly what's the
You put him
UFO,
in there.
yeah,
He's
what's
doing
an
his
American
job.
plane and what's an American experiment plane. Most of it was the Blackbird
Yeah.
before the
Exactly.
X-Men got it.
Yeah. History is lame and stupid, especially Egyptology. Yeah. But what about the list of kings?
Those
The list of
lame
kings?
dirt diggers.
Mhm. Joe Rogan had a debate with an Egyptologist, and there's the list of kings that goes back thousands of years, 15,000 years. What list of kings? Said the guy. That's your plausibility problem with Lord of the Rings right here. Potatoes.
Potatoes.
People need to study cool things like Gambit's backstory and Howard the Duck. J. Helen Hynek, who's that? Hello, werewolf. Of course, making a comic book about aliens building the pyramids is interesting.
Speaking of science fiction, I read another issue of Vanguard Illustrated with a Al Williams cover.
Al Williams doing
Nice.
A back cover by his name Brendan Milligan. Freak Wave. And what's weird is they mentioned in the beginning that they didn't like the colors, how the colors came out on Freak Wave, the first two parts. This is the third part. So they went full color on this, which means I think they shot right from the color guides. He must have painted the pages. But the black plate isn't always dark enough on all. Like, if you look at this page right here, it looks blurry.
Yeah.
Compared to this page. So I think they still didn't have the process down. It was a little distracting. And the story just kind of fell apart. I love this second to last page there. It's sort of this Mad Max story on the water, water world Mad Max. That's Mickey Death there. And the Drifter, I think, and at the end here, I believe like the Drifter blew up on that boat. And there's the villain. But then the very last page, we get the writer and artist, Peter Milligan and Brendan McCarthy. There they are. And they're like, did we just kill our lead character? We can do whatever we want to him. And then the lead character comes up and kills both of them. And that's sort of the story ending after the story ending. And then we get back to our encyclopedia salesman. This is Baron and Rude pre-Nexus. The post-apocalyptic encyclopedia salesman, which is just an excuse to have a post-apocalyptic fight story because it makes no sense. Battling salesman. And then we get Killer Orbit by someone named Rex Lindsay. This little, I guess I'd compare it to Outland, the movie, with this woman doing an inspection on a spaceship, and they're like, aha, she found our bad stuff. We can't let her live. But it was nicely done. And then the last one is Tom Yates and David Campetti. And it's a tribute to Ray Bradbury. And at the end, we even get Ray Bradbury.
Neat.
So another nice issue of Vanguard Illustrated, number 3. His artwork was terrific. Still, I don't think he's done stuff in a while. He did something recently. I can't remember what. Brendan McCarthy. I think he did some stuff for Vertigo with Peter Milligan in the 90s.
Bradbury, Son of Thunder is a classic. I need more Bradbury. I haven't read Bradbury in years. And I didn't know. When I was a kid, I got a book of his for free. It was the Portuguese edition of the Martian Chronicles. It took me a while to actually get around to read them.
I
don't know.
I read the Martian Chronicles in college and absolutely loved it. And then I read it again maybe 10 years ago, and I found it disjointed. And I'm like, and I couldn't figure out why I loved it so much in college. I mean, it was so weird. Not that I thought it was terrible or anything, but I'm like, I just remember loving this book a whole lot. How come I'm getting none of that now?
Yeah, I think I read it. It was after college when I was going through my sci-fi phase and buying a whole bunch of Star Trek books. And Manhattan had so many more used bookstores all over the place. And the sci-fi stuff, you get them for a quarter, and it would be like there was a bookstore near the World Trade Center. So on the weekends, because I used to work in a toy store near the Trade Center, there was a bookstore that wasn't too far away from the Jim Hanley's that was in the downtown area. That area there was a small satellite store, I guess you would call it, for Jim Hanley's. And not too far away from there would be a bigger used bookstore. And I don't know if I found the Martian Chronicles then, but yeah, that was definitely after college, just during the time I was at Marvel is when I picked it up. And what I remember from it, I know I enjoyed it, but I never revisited it.
Like I said, I remember one thing I remember about it when I read it that first time was it all kind of made sense. I saw the through line of all the stories because it was about a bunch of stories about colonizing Mars.
Right.
But there was it was like hit or miss with like this colony would die out. And then years later, this would have a new colony would start. And it's like that first time through, it all made sense to me. I saw the through line of it. When I read it again 10 years ago, it was all like a bunch of random stories.
Huh.
And I was like, what happened?
Yeah, and the only story I remember, because I remember just the ending of it, was that it was a father promising the kids, I'm going to show you the Martians that live up here. Kind of a thing. And, you go through like the lives of them, and his father's promising. And at the end, the story is that, he shows them a pool, the local water thing. And it's like, you look into the pool and you will see the Martians. And it was basically like, we're the Martians. We are living here, kind of a thing. And I was like, that was a neat story, but that's all I remember from that whole book.
I remember loving it. I remember loving how it all made sense together. I remember loving how one story kind of led into the next one, but didn't really, wasn't a direct story from it. Then that second time I read it, none of it made sense.
Huh.
I was just like, what have I missed? Am I reading the same book? Matter of fact, it was probably even the same copy of the book I still had lying around.
Right.
So it was just such a weird experience reading it that second time.
The younger you was more open-minded, maybe. You saw something there? Who knows?
Younger me could see connections, older me couldn't see. I don't know.
wild.
Weird.
Speaking of classic books, I saw a TikTok that I wanted to send you, but I was actually in the park, and so I wasn't able to like get a good
Mhm.
connection. And it's about a teacher finding that some of her students were writing notes back and forth to each other, and she found that they're writing it on paper, and it was about the subject, and it was trying to explain The Great Gatsby
Ah.
because they were reading it, and one of the students apparently didn't read the assignment, and they were trying to get like a crash course of what the story's about in the middle of the class. And if I, hopefully I'll be able to find it in my history and send it to you.
Yeah.
But it was because she's like, I am not sure how to feel about this
Yeah.
because the fact that they're talking about the material, she's
That's
counting
good.
it. She's counting it as a win.
Yeah.
That they're talking about the material, they're actually having a discussion about it and how upset one of them is finding out that spoilers for The Great Gatsby, 100 years old book, that Gatsby dies at the end. And the kid was upset. It's like, well, then why read this story, kind of a thing. And the other one's like, you don't understand. It means this. And so she was like, this was fascinating to read. And she can't blame the kids about anything because they're talking about the story and they're using this old method to communicate to each other in class. So I thought that was quite entertaining in general. It's like, oh, I got to send this to Jared, to
Yeah.
Jared about Gatsby.
Let's see, what else did I get? A good issue of Radiant Black.
Okay.
I think Radiant Black has lost its way a little bit since the end of its big story that lasted 35 issues or something. What issue is this? 41. But I think it's finding its feet again. Not that the issues were bad, but it's finding its feet again with more Earthbound stuff. And a big Buffalo charge. So I'm glad I enjoyed this more than I've enjoyed issues lately. And we also got, I'll run through a few quickly for you, the latest Battle Beast. Once again, these are, mostly fight stories, so there's not a ton to talk about. Some invincible characters, the Viltrumites, show up. Of course, some nice artwork. And Battle Beast shows up to battle some mean creatures. And it's good stuff. And let's see, what else do I get here? Oh, we'll give you an issue of Ice Cream Man. Nothing plays with the form of comics like Ice Cream Man. This, of course, is a Rear Window Hitchcock takeoff. So, of course, we have the Rear Window he's looking out. This character. So, at first, it's all about sort of the character looking out the window and seeing what's happened, much like Rear Window. If you've seen that movie, you probably have. And then it turns into something like it plays with the form so much. By the end of it, it stops being about Rear Window and this guy looking out at the apartment building, watching everybody's stories, and starts becoming about the reader looking at the windows of a comic book and watching stories. So, and sometimes that's what happens with Ice Cream Man things. It starts being about one thing and it turns into another. And it often when it plays with the form, it turns into the reader becomes a participant in the story. Like these had stories where like, don't turn this page. If you stop reading right now, it'll be a happy ending. Oh, you turn the page. Now you've killed me. So this one doesn't quite do that, but it turns into being about you reading the comic rather than the character watching the people in the other apartment. So it was a good issue. They really play with the form of comics like no one else. So I gotta say I really enjoyed that issue of Ice Cream Man can be hit or miss.
Right.
Most of the time, even the misses are fine. But when the hits hit, it's like, wow.
Any sign that it's going to end? That thing's been going on for a while now.
I know. What issue was that? 41? No, 40, 45.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
45.
issues.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And that was surprised that Absolute Batman made it to number 19.
Yeah.
Superhero comics that make it to number 19 nowadays. But even even a creator-owned editorial project reaching number 45 on this market.
Yeah. That's nuts. The power, they do a good job storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no continuing story. There's not even any Ice Cream Man mythos anymore. Like in maybe the first 15 issues of the story, they were trying to give us hints of the background story of Ice Cream Man. And they put in this cowboy who was sort of his rival somehow. And then they just abandoned all that. They don't need the Ice Cream Man is just kind of he shows up. He's sometimes the host. He shows up as the theme. He can show up as a character, but there's no Ice Cream Man mythos that they're not dealing. I'm happy they're not even bothering with that.
Yeah, reminds me of that Babylon 5 episode where a guy shows up to talk to Vosh, and then never shows up again. But it leaves the telepath all upset about it because they were using her as a conduit, but they were like saying things like this apple is green. It's like Deepak Chopra quotes. Gatsby is a replicant. I mean, that makes sense, right? That can make sense. He just shows up fully formed, rich.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where he came from, and is living like there's no tomorrow.
I do like that little book I have on how Gatsby is a white passing black man. That's an interesting one. I think I've talked about that here before. It's a hypothesis some professor came up with, I think in the around the year 2000, and all the clues that Gatsby is actually a white passing black man. And then someone wrote a short book about it that started as Facebook posts.
Oh,
all
okay.
the evidence for that. It's pretty wild.
And the last book that I have here from Mad Cave is Gotcha Man number 17.
Ooh.
So this continues the story that's basically left off from the cartoon series and drawn by Chris Batista, longtime friend of mine, and the art is just beautiful. They introduced a new set of kids, pretty much a junior league of kids, but you have the classic television show characters. Looks like a new set of people.
Huh. Those don't look typical. I mean, they kind of do, but not really. Typical anime style, but not really.
Yeah, he Chris can do some great details that it looks anime, but at the same time, it's the superhero type stuff. I think he does a good blend. I mean, the rest of the artists as well. His colorist is Sabrina Cintron is the inker, and Carlos Lopez is the colorist. So yeah, some of these look like it's right out of, could almost be an anime cell. It's still traditional. And he puts a lot of details in the background. Let's see, that's a backup story for another thing. And here's a good shot to end it on. Those are the books that I got this week.
Yeehaw. The books of the week. I only got one more book this week. What is it? Narco.
Captain Infinity agrees that Gatsby must be an Access 6.
This was along with Nectar, was the hot book of a month ago for a week. And I was really happy for Wagner and Hilliard, who I've been buying their stuff for a while now. This is like the 5th series I think I've bought of theirs. And this was the first time one of their books was hot. And of course, they've always got a serial killer in there. And it's called Narco because the lead character has a form of narcolepsy where wherever he's stressed, he faints. It's narcolepsy and something else. I forget what. But the girl he was having a date with, who he may have been looked like he was stalking, but he wasn't, he's telling the cops, was killed right in front of him in his apartment. So he was he was picked up by the cops and he was a suspect in the murder, but they kind of don't think he did it because he's such a dweeb. So then they're and he's got a possum who he talks to too. That he feeds strawberry Pop-Tarts to and talks to. And his friends are trying to get him through it. And the one cop is like, "Hey, why don't you come with us? If we show up at the suspect's house, he'll freak out." So now this guy who faints whenever he gets too stressed is in the middle of this serial killer investigation. So I always enjoy they always put out miniseries. What are they? They put out show you. They put out I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer was their last one. Plush and vinyl and plastic Death and Dolls, and it's called the Plastic Verse because that was their first book, Plastic. So all of their series take place in the Plastic Verse, and it's good stuff. Pick up any one of them. My constant coughing tonight. Mm-hmm. A little bit of phlegm in my throat. It's making me cough over and over. A little bit of phlegm.
I need to start reading something else.
You do. What should you read? I still have to read all those Firefly comics I got. I got to read the volume 3 of the Night Eaters soon, too. I want to read that one.
My friend said he thinks he has my Camelot 3000, and I told him no, but now I noticed that I don't have Camelot 3000 here. So maybe he does have it.
I don't think I'll ever read Camelot 3000 again. That's one of those I'm like,
Yeah, I had the Brazilian edition. Then I bought the U.S. trade paperback, and I liked it. Then I reread the U.S. trade paperback, and then it's not that interesting anymore.
No, I don't even know if I have my original issues. I don't have to check my database. I bought them as they came out over those, monthly 2 years.
Yeah. Monthly every 2 years, exactly.
Let's see. Do I? Yeah, I still have all 12 issues. I did not. I probably didn't get rid of them because nobody wants them. It's not in high demand. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh, I changed screens for a moment. Now I'm behind. Why does that happen to me now? Now I got to catch up.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of lag.
Yeah, it's like when I switch over, I switched over to my database program, and that all of it makes the stream lag.
You're not gonna have to use the iPad again, do you? Are you?
Yeah, I got my sound this week. That's good. Showed everything. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Still another week before I do that show. Get to see Wilson. And hopefully I'll be 100% by then.
Yeah. and not patient 0.
Yeah. That would be bad.
Yes.
You do not want to be patient 0.
No. Or have the epidemic named after you.
No. All bad.
Holland like Holland, not Poland like Poland.
That's right. Holland like Holland. 2 L's.
I think I always said Bolin.
I don't even know what I said.
No, nobody read Marvel's Hydrators this week.
Marvel's Hydrators?
The thing that we talked about last week.
I remember.
Yeah. Your internet cloud is so low that Jared forgot.
I thought it was a new book for a second.
No. It was the thing. The one where we figured out that there was no actual editor assigned to custom comics. It's whoever was assigned.
Do we know
was available at the time.
Do we know anyone who read Daredevil #1 this month? I just realized I've seen people open it, but I haven't heard one person mention they actually read Daredevil #1.
Yeah, everybody wanted because of the.
I have it. I did not read it myself.
It's like, I don't know if it's any good or not. Stephanie Phillips is writing that one, and who's drawn that? Guy who drew some of those Firefly covers I got. Can't remember his name. But that's where I know his name from.
And to speak about comic book history that came out of nowhere this week, I'm doing research on Zen Intergalactic Ninja.
Oh.
And I need to find reference, which I have now, for Rock and Rollin' Minor Ants. And it is a black and white series from the 80s that I don't think went anywhere. But there is something being worked on, and I need to do some coloring. And he's like, okay, I need to look some of these things up. And I'm having fun researching Zen because I have bought issues of Zen. There's one of those books that popped out, caught my eye, and I picked it up. And I probably have more issues of Zen as a couple of one-shots, as well as some of the Archie books. Where I have any of those books, no idea.
I just walked over to my shelf to see if I had it, and I remember getting the first issue, I think, but I it's not under Z. Though I did find Zed.
I remember Zed. I remember the title anyway.
Right, it was a pretty good book, Zed. I think they actually finished it years and years later in like a trade paperback.
Oh, okay.
It was a little space guy, I think, if memory serves.
Mm-hmm. So apart from the mini series, the Rock and Rolling Mandarins only appeared in an issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes. And then there was a crossover with Zen at some point, and I think it was only like 7 pages. So it was like something that popped up, and it was like, this is interesting.
Huh.
Zen, though, it became a lot more.
It became its own little phenomenon within that time period. They had toys. They had a video game. They had 2 video games.
Wow.
They was contracted to do a animated series with Ruby Spears, but that just didn't go anywhere. And it did pretty well as a comic book series. Archie did a couple of issues, I think 9 altogether. And its own publishing went on for a while, and you have them, I think, with First Comics now, and there's still stories printed up. But listening to the origin story is kind of fun because I just got into comics in that time period, so it's like they're mentioning stuff in events, and it's like, oh, okay, so that was just when I started, and I was getting Ninja Turtles, and I knew that that it existed, and I know I have a couple of the first issues, and I don't know if I have the Mignola cover or the Sam Keefe cover. It's one by Sam Keefe. That's actually pretty good.
There is a documentary about Zen.
Yes, that's one I'm currently watching on YouTube,
Cute.
or at least maybe it is the same documentary, but I found one on YouTube.
Yeah, Goblin loves Zen. Yeah. So
Zot.
Zot.
Zot is a classic.
Yeah.
I still have all my issues of Zot. Met Scott McCloud at a local con in the late 80s, I think, too.
There was a time when I was more interested in trying out Zot than I never did, and now I'm not.
It's a good one. I don't have to reread. This one of those ones I mean to reread. It was fun. Scott McCloud says start late with the black and white stuff. He knew what he was doing then. But I still like the earlier color stuff. And Art Deco is a fun-looking villain. And so is 9-Jack-9, with one of my favorite names of a supervillain.
I remember Art Deco. I don't remember. But then again, I don't think I read issues of Zot.
I showed the ad with Art Deco, I think, last week on the back of
okay.
Vanguard Illustrated. Yeah, it was on the back of that. Is Zot still over there? Let me see.
Tonight is the ending of the Outer Spacemen Kickstarter that we were doing. That we have an alternate cover for it by our buddy. Let me just grab the actual information. By Darren Kane. Did the cover. And we have like 15 hours to go for
that is Deco.
Right. Yep.
Let's see if I can find.
Character.
I know there's a good shot of 9-Jack-9. Where is it? I can't find a good shot. I know there is a good shot on like the back of one of these covers of 9 Jack 9. But there he is. He's got kind of the straw hat and the black face, and he's got a striped suit on.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if I can find the good. Maybe it was in. I know there's one they used for ads all the time that looks cool. Let me see. Ah, there he is. That's a better look at 9 Jack 9 in the background there.
Okay. He has a Mr. A kind of feel to him. Just
Yeah.
visually. I don't know if his story is anything like that at all.
I don't even remember. The Nightmare is back. 9 Jack 9. He's just got a cool name too. 9
Yeah.
Jack 9. Oh, there he is. There's another 9 Jack 9 cover. So he's cool looking. I always liked the way he looked. Some nice covers here at the end. The last cover of Zot. They sail away into the sunset. Into the moonset. The moonrise?
It flew off onto the moon.
Whoa.
Well, here's the Kickstarter.
That's the link to this Kickstarter of the Outer Spacemen with the cover that was done by friend of the show, Darren Kane. So he gets to do a cover for a character named Aphrodite. Yes, I believe Aphrodite in this special gold foil variant cover combos and stuff like that. So the Kickstarter has funded, so which is great, but could always use more people if you want to get these issues.
Go buy the comic.
There you go.
Go buy the
appearance
comic.
And a first appearance of a new character that was made for the series.
The Joker? First appearance of the Joker?
Sure. He just won't look like the Joker. Sure, Homer.
They won't
We'll have
call him
steak.
that either.
Do you know the? Actually, let me see if I can try to find the Zen documentary. Shouldn't be too hard.
One that I'm watching. Yeah, because I should have it in my history. The one that I'm watching is called "What's the Real Story Behind Zen Intergalactic Ninja" by Joshua is Right, and it came out a year ago.
Joshua. Yeah, looks like it's this one. So it should be this one.
Then the Intergalactic Ninja. I don't remember it being that popular. Wow. There was more Zen stuff going on than I knew of.
Oh, yeah. He did one of their first license thing was for school supplies. Those are really hard to find because they were distributed to schools. Yes, that is the same documentary that I was watching.
Well, we should let Paolo get to bed.
Yeah, but first Eric wants to know if you can get the preview of what books you're expecting next week.
No, because I haven't gotten my email yet. So I can look on what am I getting? I'd have to look on what is that thing I use?
Grand Comics Database? No.
No, the one where they show you what comics are coming out. I got it in my other. I'm afraid to go to my other browser because it'll slow this one down. Let's see.
Right.
What's
Yeah, I
its
have no
name?
indication from Midtown Comics of what I'm getting for next week.
League of Comic Geeks.
Yeah.
Next week we'll have Palookaville, Monstrous, The Beauty, Savage Dragon, Torpedo, a new issue of Torpedo, 72. The Beauty, Exquisite Corpses, In Your Skin #1, Murder Hobo #1, an Exordium #1, and Strengthen Ash #1. That's the Stefano Cardicelli one. At least according to League of Comic Geeks, that's what's coming out for me. I haven't gotten any official notice from my comic shop yet. Strength and Ash. That's the Stefano Cardicelli one from, I think, Keenspot. It's like a $6 comic.
Ooh.
Like, ooh. But I think Keenspot ones cost that much. Like I said, I don't mind small press. I'll pay extra for. Marvel and DC, it should be cheaper, not more.
Right. Like when CDs existed, what was this was a point of doing a special cover edition of a Backstreet Boys album.
We'll
Now
be on
buying
my channel next week.
With balloons.
Provided I'm still alive.
You just have a cough. Eat more cough drops.
And vitamin C.
I keep expecting to feel better again in the morning. Every morning I'm like, how come I'm not better?
How about moonshine?
Even though I know everything takes time, I still expect it not to.
So Groundhog Day is based on or inspired by a different early story?
Yes, a story called 12 p.m., I think it is, starring Red from that 70s show, a short. You can look it up. Just look up whoever that guy is who played Red, the father. Who, you know his name. He's everywhere, but I think it was named 12 p.m. It's a 20-minute short that inspired Groundhog Day. How could you not know that one? I think I mentioned it before. Haven't we discussed it?
No.
I don't remember.
No, it's the first time hearing about it.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for coming and for keeping it unreal. We will have more unreality next week on Jared's channel. Here's the Unreal Lasers and signing off.